Okay, so this is a video on how to model a very specific object. This is one of the student's objects. This is a plastic clothespin, right? And so the way I'm approaching it is I've kind of made duplicates of each step I took. This is kind of the philosophy I would take for everything, is identify the main primary shape or primitive I could start from, right? So the primitive I could start with is, obviously I want to focus on one half of these objects. I guess theoretically I could kind of cut it out of one single object, right? So I could maybe take a cylinder, and then I could take like another like rounded cylinder, another one right here, and then like a wedge, and then cut them out of the mesh and then just connect them. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to model one half of this and then flip it upside down. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and I'm not really working off of any other profile or pictures, so I don't really understand what's going on here. So that's a kind of a different topic, but I'm going to kind of go for the main approach. So I'm going to kind of take a look at this. And so the easiest thing to start with probably would just be a cube. I'm doing a cylinder because I wanted these rounded fronts and ends to it. So the way I did it was I took a cylinder and I'm keeping it really low, right? Instead of eight-sided cylinder, right? And I went ahead and grabbed an edge. Let me just go ahead and show you really quickly. So I have a cylinder, attribute editor, 8, enter. Okay. And then I grab a center line for it, and then I want to cut it in half, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch it out like that. So what I did is I grabbed that, and then I'm going to go edit mesh, detach. So it's going to cut these into, oh, I didn't get them all the way through. Okay. Edit mesh, detach. Okay. So now what I can do is I can, pull this to the length or that I want it to be in. Go to edge mode, and then I can just bridge those holes together. So that's where I got to right there. Then what I did was I went ahead and I cleaned up the topology on the top part right here, because I have a bunch of triangles right here, a bunch of triangles right here. So what I did was I took all these front faces, or these faces on top, and I'll do it on the bottom too actually, so let's click off that. I'll just grab all these faces up here. I'm holding tab, which is doing like a paint selection. Okay. I'm going ahead and clicking extrude, and then I'm going to offset it into the mesh, right? And so that's going to give me that radial topology that goes around it. Now what I can do is I can just grab both of these edges, right? Because I have 2 triangles, 2 triangles, 2 triangles, 2 triangles. Each of those pairs of triangles, I can delete the edge between them, and now it becomes a quad, right? And so that's kind of, I should have done it to the bottom as well, but well. That's what I did to get to here. Then what I did was I just moved and added some edge loops in order to get the shape I needed. So what I did was I duplicated it. Let me delete everything. Let's see all history. Okay. So what I did was I duplicated, or I just moved my mesh, and then I went ahead and looked at my reference, right? And so, I have this line here, and then it's kind of flat right here. So in this case, I actually kind of had like another extra bevel right there, but what I could do is, let's go ahead and just find that area it's going to cut. Okay. And then what I did was I just grabbed these vertices, I moved them up. The problem is this is flat here, and then this is a different flat, and so they need to be flat in this, like all the way from here to here. Let's close all these other guys. Right, so it's flat all the way across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my pivot. I'm going to edit my pivot point, press D. I'm going to hold V or turn on snapping to point, pull it back to this vertex here, press D to edit my pivot point, and then I'm going to do this until I can get it straight, right? Until this is more or less straight. If I want to actually get this completely straight in this direction, right, and not just like a little wobbly here, a little wobbly this direction, what I could do is I could scale them down into the single direction. So I might edit my pivot point so that I have, let's go ahead and hold Control while I'm editing my pivot point and click on this edge. And I'm just going to pick that edge to be my, let's see, let's try a different one. There we go. I'll click on this vertice. And so that's just going to quickly align it. I can just, press D, and instead I can just edit the pivot point to whatever direction I want to edit it in, like right there. And then I'm just going to scale them down into one axis. So what that's going to do is it's going to make this whole thing here straight all the way down. Okay. And then I did the same thing on the other side, where I just grabbed these vertices, and then I'm going to, let's turn off snapping, move them up. The front end is a little, let's see, they're about the same thickness more or less. So I go here, D, move this pivot point back here, and then I'll press D to change the orientation of this pivot point to be something like, I don't know, like that. And then I want to switch to scale mode and just scale them down. And go back to holding to change between different orientations for like any of these tools. I just hold down the hotkey for that tool, like W for move, left click and hold, and then you can see I can quick change to any of my other orientation types. Or I could just go to tool settings and change that from object to world to component to whatever. I want to object. Let me move this up a little bit. All right. And so, and I had like another edge loop in here, so I could just add another, just insert another edge loop right around here, and I'm just going to make these guys right here flat. Okay, maybe I can grab these edges right here and just move them forward a little bit. I don't know, I'm not really worrying about it too much. All right, the next thing I want to do is I want to get the main hole that's going on right here, and then the zigzags. So there's a couple other things I need to do. I want to cut this hole out. I want to get these teeth, and then I also want to create these hinges. Okay. So what I did was please refer to the Boolean video if you want to know a little bit more about my thought process behind this. What I did is I made an object that was pretty low poly, right? I tried to line it up with these edges. Oops, let's just go over here, turn on wireframe unshaded. I lined them up with these edges here, right? And then I'm going to get this curvature, this half circle in there, right? So I'm going to cut that out of it. So what I did is I just grabbed this, and oh, wait, before I did that, I went ahead and also added some supporting edge loops in here, lining up with these edges, just because I knew I was going to run into that issue later. And I don't know what that edge that's right here is from. I didn't put it there. And so what I did is I grabbed this object here, insert edge loop, lined it up, insert edge loop, lined it up, insert edge loop, lined it up, and then I went objects like this, and then I did a difference Boolean to subtract that, right? And then I had to clean up the topology, which again, refer to the Boolean video that I've uploaded, but you know, I need to merge these together so I get like a clean topology and not some weird goofy n-gons right there, right? So right around here is where after I merged those together, right, I had a really clean edge. I inserted an edge loop across this way. I fixed my n-gons, like I think I was missing, when I cleaned up the edges and I added a bevel, it looked like this, but then I have like an n-gon right here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I added an edge loop that goes all the way across, another edge loop up here just to kind of give it a little bit more spacing, you know, because this was just like big polygons and then small polygons, so this is just to try to give it a little bit more even spacing on my object. I selected the edge loop that went all the way around the top, an edge loop that went all the way around the bottom, including these sides of the hole that I've cut, so that when I smooth it out, it has a harsher or sharper shape to it, right? And then what I was doing here was I went ahead, and each tooth is essentially like a triangle. So I just took a cube and I rotated it 45 degrees. And then what I did was I duplicated it with duplicate special. So I went to edit duplicate special, right? Which you can find out more about the duplicate special in the radial video, the radial pattern geometry video that I've also uploaded. And I talk a little bit more about this, but it just makes duplicates or copies of your mesh and applies a transform to it. So if I took a sphere, right, let's move this up here. This is going to translate it in the x-axis 0.15 units, and it's going to make 9 copies, right? If I set this, let's set this to 2. Right, so it makes 9 copies, and it translates each one by 2 units. Right, that's what duplicate special does. You can do it with scaling, rotating, and translating. And so what I did was I just made these evenly spaced teeth. And then what I did was let's go ahead and scale it up. I didn't finish this part. I'm going to move this pivot point up higher. Oop. I'm just going to make these teeth a little bit longer, just so I can get some, when I do the Boolean, it's going to cleanly cut that mesh. Actually, I might just do it like that. And so what I might want to do at this point is I probably want to add my edge loops in here to get the actual shape that I want, right? So this part's going to be pretty hard because just cleaning up this topology and getting it to distort nicely is going to be a little tough. So I'm going to grab these guys, mesh, Boolean difference. Oops. It's like this one first. Mesh, Boolean difference. Huh. Maybe I should edit, delete all by type history. Mesh, Boolean difference. And I'm not sure exactly why it's doing it that way. These definitely are intersecting correctly. What I might need to do is let's grab these guys. It might be just because it's made up of a bunch of separate pieces instead of like a single object. So instead of it doing the way I've done it right there, what I could do is I could just increase my subdivision levels on this guy. So something like that. So however many teeth I need times 2, right? And then I can just select every other edge. And I can do it like that to make my teeth. Right, that's probably easier than doing the duplicate special. Delete that guy. Probably don't have enough teeth, but I'm not really worrying about that for this demonstration. All right. Let's actually just like fully intersect that. And before I added that bevel, I probably would have wanted to go ahead and cut these in because I think it's going to be harder with this bevel that goes all the way around. So I might just delete that bevel right there. I'll have to clean it up. Let's go all the way around that one. So I have to clean it up here because I'm going to have an n-gon right there. But I'm not going to worry about that just right now. So I'll take this, and mesh. Boolean difference, right? So that's how I can cut it. And now what I'm going to do is I need to figure out how this is going to connect to the main body. So I might do something like this. Right? And then just start cutting it up like that. And I'm going to have to obviously do it across the whole mesh. This one right here, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to weld this over to that one up there. So I'm going to use target weld, and again, please refer to the, oh boy. Actually, what I might do is just target weld this one, and then I can just delete this edge and vertice. And so I have some weird issues going on here, which I definitely need to fix, because Booleans just in general are pretty messy. Right. So I'm just going to weld those guys. Alternatively, what I could do is I could just cut this surface up like I did the, let's get rid of these guys. Go ahead and just delete these guys as well and just see what this looks like. merge those guys, delete them, merge those guys, delete them, merge these ones, and delete that guy. There we go. And then this isn't going to work really well, but I'm going to just, oh right, because I have an n-gon there. I still need to spend more time cleaning it up, but the main idea is I'm trying to get this right here. So there's a couple issues I have here. One is these are still n-gons that are being cut up, so I need to connect these all the way across and clean that up. And then the other issue is these guys right here are n-gons, so I'd have to think about how am I going to transition from this surface up here down to these. I could just keep adding edge loops, and that works. It's not super clean, but it works. I could also do something like, I'm trying to think. Go down like that, there, there. So I could probably do, if I wanted to, something that goes like this, and then here, right? And so these three edges here go into two edges up here. Something like that could work as well. But I don't want to spend too much more time cleaning this up. The other option could be, let's grab this one. So I'm making duplicates of each my mesh every time I'm like taking a big step or trying something, because it's easy for me to like, oh, I'm gonna undo what all that stuff I just did. Alternatively, we could do something like this where we drop in my edge loops. I can do insert edge loop tool, so mesh tools, insert edge loop tool, open the tool settings, turn on the use equal multiplier, and that's going to let me set a number of edges I can add. So I'm going to add 12. And you can see that's starting to get pretty intense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab every other edge loop, and I probably should have used a different number. Let's try an odd number. Let's try 11. Okay, and then I'm going to get rid of, or I'm going to unselect these guys right here. And I didn't go all the way across. Super annoying. I have a faulty mouse that likes to double click when I don't want them to double click. Okay, all right. And then what I can do is I can move this up in this direction, right? And then I probably need another edge loop somewhere down here to kind of help. What I could do also is I probably merge these guys, these edges. Maybe what we could do is let's go back to where I had these guys. I could also apply a crease modifier, or use a crease tool to kind of give a little bit more weight to make those sharper. And I could do the same thing across each one of these guys as well. All right, I could just go use the crease tool here. Okay. And so I can get that a little bit sharper, or I can add another edge loop to kind of help with it. You'll notice I'm right here, I'm getting kind of some pinching because I'm going to start bending around this corner. So probably what I'd want to do in this case is I'd want to slide this out just to kind of let this transition be a little softer, but I want to keep that curvature that I have right here. So I'm going to grab this guy right here, and then I'm going to start sliding him out. It's going to mess with this little tooth, but I'm just going to do this for right now. And then let's pull this down this way. Oop. Pull him down this way, and then I can scale him out. And let's just get this curvature back how I wanted it to be. Alright, so it's a little bit less noticeable, still kind of noticeable because these guys right here aren't completely aligned, but that works. And then if I wanted to clean up the topology, like let's say I needed this to be simpler up here, maybe what I could start doing is I could start welding these edge loops down here. So if I go target weld, let's go to flat shaded. All right, and then what I can do is, because I have it set up like that, oh, it goes all the way across. But let's get rid of these ones right here. Then what I can do is use Control Delete, and there I have, and then let's get rid of these guys. Control Delete. and I have, you know, 2 less edges in that area, and I can do that all the way across. Doing all those merging, it's going to create these nasty poles right here, but these poles aren't as big of a deal when you are on a flat surface. So this is a flat surface, so it's not really going to mess with the surface rendering at all. Like it's not going to hurt it that much. It would be a different story if it was down here on this edge. And I'm noticing, just looking at this, I'm getting some weird shaping, and that's because of the uneven spacing. Like these 2 faces right here are smaller and this one's bigger. So what I might do is I might grab these guys, grab these guys, and then I might slide them. So I'll use slide tool or go to the modeling toolkit and turn on edge slide constraint. But I like the slide tool personally. Or maybe I don't. Let me turn on Z symmetry. Now let me go ahead and slide. Slide. Middle mouse click and drag. There we go. Okay. And that's good enough. Those teeth probably should be deeper, and I needed more teeth to go all the way to like right around almost the tip. So it should have gone, when I created that object to cut the teeth in, it should have gone all the way up to here. And then the next step would have been to start to weld the little hinges on, right? So these hinges, let me go ahead and draw really quickly, is the way it's working is I'm going to look at it from the, like if I'm looking at it from the front over here, right? The bottom one has 2 on this side, and then the top one has 1 right there, right? And then the other side looks like it's the opposite way, right? So the other side looks like it has 2, and then the other one has 1. Right? So that looks like how it's hinging. So what I would need to do is I'd need to create like a little circular shape right here, or like a little circular object, and I'd figure out a way to combine or weld it onto the object, right? So I could use a cylinder. I probably would just use a cylinder just because it's easiest. Set it to a lower poly count. So let's go to polycylinder 8. J to snap my rotation. So it's, and then rotate it 90 degrees. I rotated it too much, so I'm going to do J, snap it up that way. Okay. And then plug the mouse in. Okay. And then move that over to my object. Where is it? Flatten it, scale it down, get into position. And it's flush with the edge, or the edge of the object, so it's something like that. And so what I'd want to do is I'd want to make sure that there's a way for these guys to combine into each other. So I'd need another edge loop right here to connect. And then what I would do is I would delete, let's turn off the object symmetry, delete these guys, delete these faces right here, and then prepare the hole that this object's going to connect to. And then again, I beveled probably too early, so like I did it up here, I wanted to, I might want to get rid of this bevel, or delete the bevel, just so I can reconnect this, or connect this easier, and then clean it up, and then I can add the bevel that goes across. And so, I mean, I'd have to get the other side as well. I'm just kind of going really quick. And so on one side I would need 2, the other side I'd only need just 1. And then what I could do is once I have that figured out, then I could just mirror it and flip it vertically so that they hinge into each other. And that would be the basis of creating this whole shape. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a lot of stuff to think about. I know it's harder than I made it sound, just in terms of like there's more steps and there's a lot of cleanup you have to do and figuring out how all these tools work. So make sure you check out any of the other videos if you have any questions about combining objects or using booleans. So hopefully I answer some of those questions in there as well.